Hi, welcome along to Arsenal Fan TV, and this is the aftermath. Well, what a boring game that was yesterday. Arsenal 0, Chelsea 0, and I'll tell you what, we all went there expecting a really brilliant game, a really open game. It was the game that everybody was looking forward to at the weekend, and when we were setting off yesterday to go to the game, when I saw the weather conditions, I mean, for all of our people that watch from abroad, the conditions in England yesterday were absolutely atrocious. It rained all day yesterday. There was like 70 miles an hour winds. It was swirling around. There was even a danger at first that the game would be cancelled because there was a lot of transportation in the UK that wasn't running, trains weren't running properly, etc. So for them to even get the game on was good, but it showed. Once the game got underway, the conditions played a massive part. Arsenal were not able to get their game going, and if anything, the conditions suited Chelsea a bit more because they came with a negative feel to them. Their formation with Ramirez in there and Obi Mikel in there was set up to spoil, and that's exactly what they did. Helped, should I say, by a really atrocious referee. I mean, Mike Dean, I'm going to rename him Scrooge. I mean, he's just an awful referee. You can see some statistics about Mike Dean. Every time he referees an Arsenal game, we very rarely get a win. I think it's something like 7% or it's under 10% of games that he referees, we win. But I thought yesterday he was awful. We should have had a penalty of Theo Walcott. Obi Mikel, I mean, what more do you have to do to get sent off? He didn't even get booked. I mean, what planet is Mike Dean on? Some of the refereeing at the moment in the Premier League, not just our game, some of the other games, we saw it when Chelsea played West Brom, has been absolutely atrocious. If it happened in other countries, we'd be there saying foreign referees this, foreign referees that. The standard of refereeing in our country is terrible. I'd only say Howard Webb's the only referee I rate. The rest of them, sorry. And Mike Dean last night, he allowed Chelsea to commit as many fouls as they want, and fair play to Chelsea. What they realise that, hey, you know what, we're getting away with it, so we'll just keep doing it. We'll keep fouling, we'll slow the game down, and it was just a very dire. The game was just stop-start, and it suited Chelsea down to the ground. Mourinho came and did his old-school Mourinho, where he just parked the bus and just was happy with a point. And in the end, you had two teams playing that were basically sort of saying to themselves, listen, the most important thing here, given the results that, that had gone at the weekend, the most important thing is not to lose the game. And that's how it ended up, 0-0. But not the end of the world for Arsenal, I don't think. We're still joint top of the league. And if you would have told me that back in, in the August when we was playing Aston Villa, that we'd be joint top of the league at Christmas, I would have bitten your hand off for that. So anyway, let's get into the tweets. Listen, more or less everybody's saying the same thing about the game, but let's pick out some of them. Niall Morrison said, the ref was shocking, but I really don't understand why Arsene Wenger didn't make any substitutions. We really need a striker in January. Now, that is another thing. I couldn't understand that as well. I mean, you've got Lucas Podolski on the bench. I know he's been out for a long time, but surely he could have come on, even if it's the last 10 minutes, and tried to make an impact. He'd be chomping at the bit. I mean, Wenger maybe have thought to himself that because of the conditions, he doesn't want, a player coming back from injury to be risking those conditions. But even Nicholas Bentner, to me, why not throw Bentner in a game like that? Last 10, 15 minutes, he's good in the air, balls were getting swung in. I mean, I just couldn't understand it. We should have made a substitution. I think that was definitely a fail there by Arsene Wenger. Hinesh Patel says, tough game, could turn out to be a valuable point. And he says, Merry Christmas to Arsenal Fan TV and all the gooners out there. Merry Christmas to you as well, mate. Ramesis Placinia says, we need to show more fight against the big teams. Giroud has to bury those chances or we'll struggle to win the league. Now, Olivier Giroud last night, he had that chance. Now, he needs to be more clinical. He should have buried that chances. In these type of games, playing Chelsea, top teams, you're not going to get many chances. When you get those chances, you must put them away. And I think that's the difference between say, a player like an Olivier Giroud and, say, a Luis Suarez or an Aguero, they would have put that chance away last night. And that is kind of what we're lacking slightly. Kiefer Rubino says, we need a good and proven striker. He thinks Diego Costa, Benzema or Lewandowski, any of them would be great, but I very much doubt any of them will be able to get. And he said he'd still have Giroud, but he'd play him as either a backup centre forward or in a 4-2-3-1-1 system. Viselius Drum says, from the start, we didn't show up. There was no pressure by our players on or off the ball. We gave Chelsea the perfect start. I thought that as well. We didn't press high enough. We sat a bit too deep in that game, allowed their defenders to have the ball without no pressure. I mean, I know the conditions played a part in it, but I would still have liked us to have been a bit more at them. And finally, John Smith says, okay, we didn't win, but we couldn't afford to lose to Chelsea, and we didn't. Joint top at Christmas, I'll take that any day. And I suppose that is more or less the theme for yesterday's game. We're going to have to take the point. We've dropped to quite a few points recently, but we're still joint top of the league. We're still in a good position. We've got West Ham coming up on Boxing Day. We've got Newcastle away, which is going to be a very tough game. Then we've got Cardiff at home on New Year's Day. Now, listen, if we can get 9 points or even 7 points out of those 3 games, we'll still be looking good going into the new year, and that is definitely achievable. So it's not the end of the world. It's been a good year for Arsenal. It's been a good year. We finished off the year well. We're in a good position, and you know what? I'll take that. Listen, thanks to everybody who's been watching the Aftermath all year. I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. Don't forget, we're going to be having a sale in our shop. Make sure you check that out. That's coming up after Christmas. Sale where you can get loads of things at knockdown prices. And listen, Arsenal, I'm happy at the moment. I'm happy with how we're playing. I'm happy with how we're performing. I want us to go and get a striker in January. No disrespect to Olivier Giroud, but let's get a world-class striker because we can win this thing. But thank you very much for listening to the Aftermath and watching the Aftermath today. Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and I wish you a Merry Christmas.
I don't understand why a billionaire in his spare time would want to watch that. Why Abramovich, he converted £700 million worth of debt into equity. So I've got an offer for you, Roman. I've got a tin of paint at home. It's a nice blue colour you'll really like, and I'll sell it to you for £100 million, and you can paint it on your wall and watch it dry. Because that's what I did today.
Striker, don't you? I think Giroud looks absolutely knackered at the moment. Well, we need another striker in the window. I don't know who we can get in, but someone, maybe Diego Costa. Put the boat out. Diego Costa. What do you think, Robbie?
I like him. I mean, not sure he'd leave for Atletico Madrid, but either goodbye.
Yeah, well, exactly.
But anyway, Merry Christmas, mate.
Merry Christmas,
and I'll see you at West Ham.
And all gooners, Merry Christmas to you.